When you say sleep, I know folks are going to think, oh, I know I should be getting my 8 hours. Is there something different you want people to know about sleep?
Sleep has gotten a lot of attention, I think. There's some good science around sleep coming out, the implications of insufficient sleep and adequate sleep, lots of data around that. So we know that if we're not sleeping well, all of those chronic diseases of aging are at increased risk of developing. So insufficient sleep is a driver of all the chronic diseases and, again, the acute things like COVID and influenza and so forth. Like sleep is that incredibly fundamental. I don't think that we just stop at 8 hours. In fact, I think if you get a good solid 7 hours with a reasonable distribution, if you're tracking, like I happen to have an Oura ring on, so I know what my deep sleep is, which I love it. I think it's a helpful tool. We want to pay attention to optimizing the conditions for us to achieve sleep because of all of the elements of our program, sleep was my weak link for sure, especially with a little baby at home. God, my sleep was disrupted for a while. And I felt like I trained for good sleep, like I was training for a marathon, just really kind of figuring out the hacks that worked for me. And I go through all of those. One of the basic fundamental hack is, of course, we know no caffeine after the morning and latest at noon, but having enough runway to achieve sleep. Many of us go to bed too late and then we need to get up at a certain time. Or if you've got a kid, you're getting up whether you like it or not. So having enough runway to achieve sleep, like that was one of the biggest ahas for me. I was going to bed way late to give myself any fighting chance to get, 7 hours. Room darkening. Again, super easy. Keeping my mouth shut, making sure I'm breathing through my nose has made a huge difference for me in my sleep. So there's a bunch of hacks. Good sleep will reduce risk of disease, and poor sleep will drive risk of disease. And it will do so through altering DNA methylation patterns. It will do so through epigenetics.
And it's free, which is great. And it's like really no side effects, just side benefits. From my point of view, someone who was so focused on food as medicine and in nutrients in my practice, that I became familiar very quickly with the science around short sleep and micronutrient deficiencies. So we know that things like iron deficiency anemia are very linked with what's called very short sleep, so under 5 hours. So maybe you are someone who goes to bed at 9 or 10, you're like, I'm giving myself the runway, and then you're up at 3 and you can't fall back asleep. That's called a very short sleep pattern. Those are associated sometimes with micronutrient deficiencies. They can be. When you have a replete diet, it will help you sleep better. When you sleep better, you have better gut health. You can absorb your nutrients better. And so doing it all at once in a way that's easy and sustainable is so effective. And it's just the cycle that feeds on itself in a beautiful way.
And what do you do when you have that 3 a.m. wake up, and how do you get yourself back to sleep? So meditations that were, white noise. There's a ton of micro hacks that will add up to ultimately allowing us to achieve good sleep.
Do you have a favorite meditation or mindfulness practice?
We use Herbert Benson relaxation response. It's just a good basic breathing structure. So when people say they can't meditate, which many do, or they don't have time for meditation, or they don't like meditating, there's an entry into this conversation that all of us can have. And I've used their micro meditations many times. There's a lot of apps out there, but I have a warm spot for Healthy Minds.